some Aaron Rodgers here. For those of you who aren't a big Joe Rogan guy, you might have missed this one. I'm not going to lie to you. I am a Joe Rogan guy. I'm not a, there are levels to being a Joe Rogan guy. I feel I'm the level of, oh, this guy's talking about living in the Amazon jungle for 7 years. That sounds like a good idea. I'm 100% locked into this interview. And I feel that I would have saw the Aaron Rodgers thing coming, didn't, but the man's an enigma. And because of that, we never know what's coming. Aaron Rodgers, however, went on the interview, was asked about a bunch of stuff, and kind of opened the curtain a little bit to why he is taking so long with the Pittsburgh Steelers and what is causing this decision. And to be very honest with you, I've known some of it. I haven't felt comfortable enough or in the right place to say any of it. And I'm a little thankful that Aaron just kind of let a little bit of it out, because it's important to know, I think, for everybody else who's waiting and feeling this is overly dramatic for no reason whatsoever. He said this on the podcast. He said, quote, "I am trying to be open to everything and not specifically attached to a decision." Classic Aaron Rodgers quote right there. "I'm not holding anyone hostage. I've been upfront from the beginning. I don't mean any disrespect to anyone on a team. I'm just going through a lot in my personal life that has to take priority. I don't think it was fair to the Steelers or anyone while I deal with a lot of things off the field. The people that I know are the people that know. The people that don't make up shit about me." He later said, just dropped it suddenly or when discussing this, quote, "I figured it out during the last year when I've been in the weeds with these people who are close to me that have cancer." Obviously, we don't know names. A development that shows just how serious this situation is. A lot to talk about, I think. I don't think it's as easy as, oh, somebody close to him has cancer and that's the end of the story and we wait forever. This is the NFL. It's a business, and the Pittsburgh Steelers have to take it all seriously. But you hear those things after months of waiting. We're 60 days since he showed up here in Pittsburgh, 61 days to be exact, since he showed up here in Pittsburgh. You hear these things, you get a little bit behind the curtain, and does it change your outlook on the situation, on Rodgers, and maybe how you feel about the wait?
Here's the first takeaway. It allows me, as I'm sort of absorbing this quote, because I'm not a Joe Rogan guy, so I didn't catch this episode. But it does immediately sort of evoke some sympathy from me, just because I know we've touched on it. We've talked about sort of, the personal things. We talked about like Stephon Tuitt and Derek Harmon a little bit yesterday, like these personal things, these tragedies that affect families and these NFL players. The effects of it can be, great unknown, and we really have no way to sort of predict them or project how it affects, our football team that we love talking about. So,
yeah.
That all being said, it immediately garners some sympathy for me. It's like, okay, there are things that are bigger than football, obviously, but now we have a little bit of insight into the person that's going through that, not just the expected quarterback of the Steelers that we keep talking about. So, immediately just want to say, send good thoughts to whoever Aaron Rodgers is talking about in this situation, anyone else who's dealing with that within their family, friends group, send you love and support and strength and all those good things. But beyond that, I still feel like I'm exactly in the same place in terms of all of this. I have no further insight on whether Aaron Rodgers has made a decision, whether the Steelers have one and they're trying not to tip their hand. I feel exactly still in limbo on this.
I agree. I don't think it changes much. I think it starts with the understanding that Aaron is actually going through something serious, and someone close to him is going through something serious, and make this your best season yet with nutritious 2-minute meals from Factor. Eating well has never been this easy. Just heat up and enjoy, giving you more time to do what you want. Get outside instead of prepping and cooking indoors. Factor meals arrive fresh and ready to eat, perfect for any active lifestyle. With 45 weekly menu options, you can pick gourmet meals that fit your goals. Choose from Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, Keto, and more. Factor powers your day with satisfying breakfasts, on-the-go lunches, premium dinners, and guilt-free snacks and desserts. It's easy to savor more this spring. Factor meals. Pack in the flavor with none of the fuss. I talked about it yesterday. I'll talk about it again. If it wasn't for me, today was a prime example. Didn't eat Factor today. And you want to know what happened? I went out and I bought breakfast. I went out and I bought lunch. And now Jillian will not be home tonight. And there is a 99.9% chance I'm buying dinner. Nobody's budget can afford these things, but thankfully Factor's here for us. Get started at factormeals.com/allsteelerstalk 50 off and use our code allsteelerstalk 50 off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's code allsteelerstalk 50 off at factormeals.com/allsteelerstalk 50 off for 50% off plus free shipping. The situation with the Pittsburgh or with Aaron Rodgers, excuse me, has always been the same. His circle is ridiculously small and he's never expanded it, which means that he takes little things a little bit more personal, or these things a little bit more personal. It impacts him a little bit more. Do I think that, it causes justification to drag this on the way that it has? I think to some degree, yes. I have a hard time sitting here and saying that I have an issue with anybody saying right now I'm focused on my ailing family member or friend or loved one, and instead I'm going to show up to the Steelers. I will say this. If he shows up by OTAs or by minicamp, there is no difference in my head. You know what I mean? That's where it becomes like a weird, you're walking a strange line in this situation. I don't want to sit here and say that anybody dealing with this is doing anything wrong. Mm-hmm. What I do want to acknowledge is that, again, if you show up, my expectation is Aaron Rodgers is going to be there eventually. Okay. If you show up in minicamp, it almost feels as if this whole dramatic, drawn-out thing could have been avoided and you wouldn't have had to answer any of these questions, and almost as if you've put yourself in the position to be the center and the headline and we have to ask you 90 questions about this when you could just avoid all of it by have had the decision and then showing up for minicamp. My second biggest takeaway from this is that he says that he's been upfront from the beginning, and that he's going through a lot in his life that has to take priority, and that, quote, I don't think it was fair to the Steelers or anyone while I deal with a lot of things off the field. The people that know, the people that don't make shit up. You look at that, and my thought is, okay, if what's not fair to the Steelers? I think that's the question that's being asked right now. What is not fair to the Steelers? Are you not able to show up until July? Because if that's the case, them knowing their quarterback is a much better situation than going through the summer guessing about their quarterback. Even if they know Aaron's not showing up till July because personal things are going on and he can't be here in minicamp and OTAs. Awesome. That's a significantly less story than this one that we're talking about right now. What is it? There is a hostage component to this, and it feels as if something's unaligned. Either the Steelers have a handshake agreement in this whole scenario, and they are well aware and very comfortable lying to us and taking the heat in the process that Aaron Rodgers is showing up to the Pittsburgh Steelers, or they have no idea. And Aaron realistically is tying them to his finger and saying, you know what, we'll figure this out. Good things will happen maybe, but right now I can't commit myself 100%. Dude, it's May. Nobody's committing themselves 100%. TJ Watt's not showing up for OTAs. The Cam Hayward shows up for like a day of OTAs. No veterans show up here. Ben Roethlisberger never showed up to OTAs. You don't need a 41-year-old quarterback at OTAs. It's a significantly less story. I just feel, and maybe I'm wrong, that not holding a team hostage has essentially held the Steelers hostage, where this is a significantly less urgent, chaotic, dramatic situation on the football front. If the argument or the sentiment being shared was Aaron won't be here till July, he's got stuff to deal with. Am I wrong there? Am I overlooking something?
Perhaps let's leave room for, the unknown. We don't know, we can't know what we don't know until we know it, as they say. But
Yeah.
it seems from everything we're hearing, I really do think that, respectfully, like what Aaron Rodgers is saying and dealing with is important. And the person comes before the player in my mind. I will always reinforce that and reinstate that belief. But that does not change that the fact that he has given no real indication that he wants to be the Steelers starting quarterback or be on this
No.
team at all. So yeah, I mean, I don't think you're overlooking anything in this moment right now, because there's nothing else to really go off of that. I just find it so strange. And I almost want to play devil's advocate in this moment and ask you, is there any way that there is some sort of negotiation tactic going on in any way? I'm not talking about using a personal sort of thing about it. I'm
Yeah.
just saying it has been so drawn out. Is this something we are overlooking, that there is a piece of the negotiation that has not been resolved? Is there something that goes beyond just, oh, there's a handshake agreement, but we're not going to announce it yet or give any more information until X date that we just aren't privy to at this moment?
I have a hard time believing that Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers are still negotiating anything. The Steelers have been very upfront about the situation as well. We're giving you a 1-year deal. I don't think yeah, that was crazy. It just came through my window too. For those of you who don't know, me and Jake live like 2-3 blocks away from each other, and there is a nasty thunderstorm going on outside right now. This is crazy, actually. I'm watching it through the window over here and through your computer screen as it shines into the side of you. Yeah, I have a hard time believing that the Steelers have adjusted their train of thought at all about this, that. And at this point, if they are, they're suckers, man. Like, if you are, just to be real blatant here, if the Steelers are still in any negotiations with Aaron Rodgers, get the hell out and give it up, because at that point you look way worse. Way worse. This is damage control. The Steelers need to do some damage control in this situation. Negotiating with Aaron Rodgers still is wild. Absolutely wild that would be the case. Again, we don't know the exact. We know a lot of the situation. I have an idea of what the situation is, but again, I don't feel right sharing it. It's just not my place. And it does feel serious, but it also feels as if it could be avoided and less dramatic. And I mean, I'll finish with this question for you, because we do have other things to talk about. When it comes to Aaron in this, like, do you still think that there's a 50% maybe more chance he retires? Is that what this is? Is this Aaron going, if this doesn't turn out well, I'm walking away from the game? Or, because if that's the case, that's the only thing left that makes sense. It's the only thing left. Besides that, not being able to give yourself fully to a team until training camp is something almost all veteran quarterbacks do. So it doesn't make a difference. Like, I don't know. I have a hard time sitting here thinking it is on the table still, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
I can, to be a more sympathetic version of myself again, just to close this out, I can certainly foresee a situation where things are so tenuous, so day to day in Aaron Rodgers' life that it does not make any sort of sense to make a decision that would impact his next year if it does involve a close personal relationship, family, things like that. I certainly would feel like that is a very understandable decision. And that also would answer that sort of fill in the blanks of that quote that we've been going off of on this conversation of it not being fair to the Steelers, like kind of answering those questions. So I think there is that retirement element we're still maybe dealing with. And it could be that the family part, the personal, is that difficult and, tightrope walking for him. So that's my final thoughts about that.
Maybe, and we'll find out at some point. And again, thoughts and prayers to Rodgers, his family, and everybody around him. Hoping for the best outcome.